March 13th, 1997. The sun had long set over the desert state of Arizona, and the night sky was clear and filled with stars. What began as isolated reports from the northwest of the state would soon become one of the largest mass UFO sightings in modern history. Around 7:30 p.m., witnesses in Paulden and Prescott Valley described a massive V-shaped formation of lights slowly moving south. The object was described as enormous. Estimates range from several football fields to over a mile in width. 5 to 7 amber-orange orbs, perfectly aligned in a rigid chevron pattern, glowed steadily as the craft passed overhead at low altitude. Unlike aircraft, it made no sound. No engine noise, no sonic boom, complete silence. Many observers noted that the lights appeared to block out the stars as the object passed, confirming its solid structure rather than separate planes flying in formation. By 8 p.m., the phenomenon reached the Phoenix metropolitan area. Thousands of residents stepped outside to watch the massive craft drift slowly over the city. It moved deliberately at an estimated speed of 20 to 30 miles per hour, low enough that people could see its underside, a dark, triangular or boomerang-shaped surface connecting the lights. Families gathered on rooftops. Drivers pulled over on highways. Police switchboards were flooded with calls. One witness, a commercial pilot with decades of experience, described it as larger than anything I've ever seen, like a flying city. The object continued its path southeast, passing directly over Sky Harbor International Airport and the city center before disappearing toward the mountains near Tucson. The entire event over Phoenix lasted approximately 10 to 15 minutes, but the sighting spanned more than 3 hours across hundreds of miles. This was only the first phase of what would become known as the Phoenix Lights. Later that evening, between 9 o'clock and 10 p.m., a second series of lights appeared over the city. These were bright, white flares dropped by a 10 Thunderbolt aircraft during a training exercise at the Berry Goldwater Range south of Phoenix. The military later confirmed the flares, and video footage clearly shows them descending slowly under parachutes, flickering as they burned out behind the Estrella Mountains. However, these flares do not explain the earlier 8 p.m. event. Thousands of witnesses, including independent observers across a 300-mile corridor, described the massive V-shaped craft hours before the flares were deployed. The timing, location, and characteristics were entirely different. Among the witnesses was Arizona Governor Fife Symington III. At the time, he downplayed the incident in a now-famous press conference, even bringing out an aide dressed as an alien for comic effect. 10 years later, in 2007, Symington publicly reversed his position. In interviews, he stated, "I witnessed a massive delta-shaped craft silently navigate over Squaw Peak. It was dramatically large, and it didn't make any noise. As a pilot, I can say with certainty this was not man-made." Other credible observers included air traffic controllers, off-duty pilots, and law enforcement officers. Hundreds of home videos were recorded, many showing the same steady formation of lights moving in unison across the sky. The scale of the Phoenix Lights event is staggering. Unlike many sightings limited to a handful of observers, this incident involved tens of thousands of people across an entire state. Reports came from a 300-mile corridor stretching from Nevada through Arizona to Mexico. Investigators, including Dr. Lynn Kitty, a physician who became one of the leading researchers of the case, compiled over 700 written witness statements in the years following the event. The consistency across these accounts is remarkable. A massive, silent, low-flying craft with a precise geometric arrangement of lights. Many witnesses described a sense of awe mixed with unease. One family in Phoenix reported the object passing directly overhead at less than 1,000 feet, close enough to see a smooth, dark metallic surface beneath the lights. Others noted that streetlights and car headlights dimmed momentarily as it passed, suggesting possible electromagnetic effects. Home videos captured from various locations show the same formation: 5 to 7 steady amber lights in a perfect V or boomerang shape, moving slowly and in unison. Unlike aircraft lights that blink or change intensity, these remain constant. The videos, while grainy by modern standards, clearly depict something large blocking out stars. The official response came quickly. The next day, the U.S. Air Force issued a statement attributing the 10 p.m. lights to flares dropped during a training mission by a 10 aircraft from the Maryland Air National Guard, operating out of Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. Military records confirm the flares were dropped between 9:15 and 10 p.m. over the Barry-Goldwater Range. Video footage of these lights shows them descending slowly, flickering, and disappearing one by one behind the mountains. Classic flare behavior. However, this explanation only accounts for the second phase of the evening. It does not address the earlier 8 p.m. sighting of the massive V-shaped craft seen by thousands as it traveled from northern Arizona through Phoenix. The flares were dropped nearly 2 hours later and in a completely different location. Governor Symington's initial dismissal, complete with the infamous press conference featuring his chief of staff in an alien costume, was intended to calm public concern. But in later years, he expressed regret for the mockery, explaining he felt pressure to downplay the event at the time. Other attempts at conventional explanations emerged. Some suggested the object was a formation of private aircraft flying in tight formation. However, no pilots came forward, and air traffic control records show no such flight plans. Ultralight aircraft or hang gliders were ruled out due to the size, silence, and ability to maintain perfect formation at night. Another theory proposed that witnesses saw a misidentified squadron of military planes, perhaps the stealth bomber or fighter jets, on a secret mission. Yet no known aircraft in 1997 matched the described size, silence, or flight characteristics. The B-2 Spirit, while triangular, produces significant engine noise and was not operating in Arizona that night, according to official records. The Phoenix lights remain one of the few major cases where a sitting governor later publicly acknowledged witnessing an unexplained aerial phenomenon. Nearly 3 decades later, the Phoenix lights remain one of the most compelling unexplained aerial phenomena on record. The event shares striking similarities with other major mass sightings. The massive V-shaped or triangular craft silently gliding over populated areas echoes the Belgian UFO wave of 1990, where thousands witnessed similar black triangles. It also parallels reports from the Hudson Valley in New York during the 1980s and the Illinois sightings of 2000, all involving large, silent, low-flying geometric objects observed by thousands. What sets the Phoenix case apart is its sheer scale and the credibility of its witnesses. Rarely has a sitting governor publicly admitted to seeing an unexplained craft. Fife Symington's later revelation lent significant weight to the accounts of ordinary citizens. The incident occurred at a time when public interest in UFOs had waned following decades of ridicule. Yet the overwhelming number of witnesses and video evidence made dismissal difficult. National media covered the story extensively, with CNN and ABC News broadcasting footage of the lights. Dr. Lynn Kitty Eye's documentary, The Phoenix Lights, and her subsequent book compiled years of research, including interviews with key witnesses and analysis of the footage. Her work highlighted the clear distinction between the 8 p.m. massive craft and the later flares. In the years since, the U.S. government has shifted its stance on unidentified aerial phenomena. The 2017 New York Times revelations about the Pentagon's ADIP program, the release of Navy videos in 2020, and subsequent congressional hearings have brought renewed attention to cases like Phoenix. Many researchers now view the event through the lens of modern UAP studies. The characteristics, extreme size, complete silence, slow deliberate flight, and apparent solid structure, do not match any known conventional or classified aircraft of the era. Alternative explanations persist. Some skeptics maintain that the 8 p.m. sighting was a misperception of high-altitude aircraft reflecting sunlight, despite the event occurring after dark. Others suggest psychological or cultural factors amplified ordinary stimuli into something extraordinary. Yet no conventional explanation has satisfied the majority of witnesses or independent investigators. The consistency of descriptions across hundreds of miles, the absence of flight records for any matching aircraft, and the governor's own testimony continue to challenge dismissive theories. The Phoenix Lights have become a cultural touchstone, referenced in documentaries, books, and even fictional media. Annual gatherings in Phoenix commemorate the event, with witnesses sharing their stories decades later. Ultimately, the case stands as a powerful reminder that some phenomena in our skies defy easy categorization. It involved too many observers, too much documentation, and too many credible voices to be brushed aside. On March 13, 1997, something extraordinary traversed Arizona skies, something that moved with purpose in silence, and on a scale beyond known human technology. Whatever it was, it left an indelible mark on thousands who looked up that night, and it continues to challenge our understanding of what may share the air above us.